Password?
Hey,
Oh, wait, thank you.
Buy the cheap shit again. It tastes like this. Look at these two fucking ass clowns walking in like they own the place.
Doing a show here.
Goddamn millennials. Welcome to the Yancy St Speakeasy, episode number 17.
Yes.
I'm Max.
And I'm Tracey.
And
we're just
and
and we're gonna try to talk about we're gonna try to do a rundown of our ranking of the Star Wars episodes.
yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go from 10 to 1 in the one that we like to shit on the most to the one we like to masturbate to the most.
Actually, you know, I think it would be better if we went from best to worst.
No.
Why?
Because I'm the master of the podcast.
No, but like, so that's the thing though, because like in the top 2 or 3, I feel like everybody's gonna have the same sort of like, because it's just such a.
I mean, Attack of the Clones is the best. We all know.
Fuck off. It's just such a part of culture now, and everybody's like, yeah, Empire's the best. Like pretty much anybody I know generally concludes that Empire's the best one. So I think it would actually hold more
Sheep.
or taste or tasteful.
Sheep. You know what, Tracey? Just drink your gluten-free spiked bitch seltzer.
Only 5 grams of carbs. We got more spiked bitch seltzer, and it's absolutely delightful. You know, I feel like we spend a lot of time selling out on this show.
Yep.
And advertising for products that don't pay us. So just like you were saying earlier, imagine what we would do for you if you were actually paying for us to talk about your product.
I would do a lot of things if you paid me to.
I would do.
Imagine what I would do for you.
We're desperate, please. Yeah.
But yeah, no. I don't know.
What's your what product would you like to advertise for? If we were given a flat rate, like what's the company or the product that you would like most?
That's a good question. I don't know. What things do I really like? I like Chipotle. You know what, actually, I would hands down, Wendy's or Chipotle, I would 100% be down to advertise for. Love their stuff. I don't know, man. This is tough.
Yeah.
This is tough. Like, because I would advertise for a lot of things, but what would I really want to?
Yeah, like what you got to consider, like what's something that's, is it going to be something that's near and dear to your heart, or is it something that's a utilitarian sort of thing, like something you utilize?
Because I am a little bit torn between this idea of being paid by something I love, and then like having no choice but to be paid by something I love to talk good thing. I don't know. So
God, we are such potential sellouts. I don't see why people aren't breaking our door down.
I would almost rather be paid by someone that I didn't like.
Yeah.
You know, or paid by a product that I didn't like, because then I would retain my freedom to, you know, genuinely adore the things that I actually do.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point.
I don't know, just getting a little philosophical on you there.
Oh man. All I know is I want another sip of my spiked seltzer. It's Cape Cod cranberry. Do you think these cranberries were pulled out of Cape Cod itself?
I am 100% certain.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
Yeah. Before we fall too deep in this delicious rabbit hole of adoring, we're both like inspecting our cans so closely now.
Oh, this is from Baldwinsville, New York.
Oh. I feel lied to. I feel lied to about the origin of these cranberries. So I'm going to take out my anger on this list of Star Wars movies.
All right. Okay, so I guess since Tracey's being so annoying,
I guess we can move to the purpose of this actual fucking podcast.
No, I guess we can start at the top of the list. The numero uno.
Babe, he listened to me for once.
I also have a mild guilt complex because Tracey was cooking dinner, and I had already eaten, and I was like, "Hey Tracey, let's record a podcast, and I don't want to stay up late, so you can eat later."
I was slicing and spicing potatoes that I was going to roast in the oven.
I mean, I didn't actually force him to, but I strongly shamed him.
Yeah, you know, some you know under the watchful eye of the law, you know, coercion is a word I might throw around if I were to ever bring this up with, you know.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, what I said is stop cooking,
stay at
record
home
now, or you can never be on the podcast again.
Stay at home, be my art slave. You want to eat, silly boy? Come here and talk into this blue.
The blue.
We're talking
the blue snowball microphone colored black.
No, we're talking to the blue.
Okay.
The ether.
All right. So my number one. Actually, you tell me yours first.
It's Empire.
Really?
Yeah.
Never would have guessed.
It's fucking whatever. What's yours, Mr. Man?
My number one Star Wars film is The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay. My number one Star Wars film is my headcanon that I wrote. I keep it on the back of a packet of Jolly Ranchers that I once bought. It's a beautiful story where R2-D2 and Chewbacca fall in love and move to Kashyyyk.
That's remarkably close to a dream I had the other night.
That's my fan fiction. It's my fan fiction. You can't tell me it's not canon because it's in my head.
I wish you could all see the intensity with which Tracey is looking at me right now. Okay, but yeah, so I mean, The Empire Strikes Back is definitely.
There's gotta be some way to fuck R2.
He does have a lot of gadgets. I'm sure a fleshlight's one of them.
There's gotta be some way to fuck it. That was like their priority when they're building a droid like that. What is his designation? He's a something droid.
He's an astromech droid.
An astromech droid. Yeah, it's a fleshlight. That's number one. Is adding intergalactic data for them to get around the place, and number two is, well, what if there's got to be some way to fuck it,
and it's a fleshlight for 1,000 different alien races.
Yeah, it's like,
so he's got a whole bunch.
It's like one of those special, you know, like when you have to go to a different country and the outlets are different. It's kind of like that. It's a multi-use orifice.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're progressive and inclusionary out there in a long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
So why is Empire the best?
Well, because I would say the dialogue is probably the best in the whole franchise. I think in terms of actual script, you know, the character interactions are really well done. The acting is, for the most part, I think, the best.
For sure.
Han and Leia's romance is well done. It's not too cheesy. There are quality stakes. There's some really great scenes. The snow speeder scene is really cool. The chase through the asteroid field is really cool.
Yeah.
They have, I would say, the best lightsaber battle debatably the best lightsaber battle in the Star Wars franchise is in that scene, or in that film, pardon. And, the reveal of Vader being Luke's father, before that became like a trope in Star Wars.
Right.
Just
in culture in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's a person out there, regardless of what your background in cinema is, or your background in how much you've seen of Star Wars. Like, no matter who you are, at some point in your life, I feel like somebody's heard like, "Luke, I am your father."
Yeah, everyone knows that line.
Yeah, even though the line was, "No, I am your father," but
the same meaning. Every single. I would be surprised if less than 90% of all, at least American people, are familiar with that line and what it means.
Yeah, I mean, just bless you. Oh, bless you. A third one? Third one? Oh,
just for you, one more.
it's Gesundheit. There is that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you gotta consider too the fact that that stuck around this long. That must have been the most mind blowing reveal of all time. Like I can't fathom what would have been like back then. Like the way that we get stoked in between the Marvel movies now, waiting for all these big reveals and such and such. Back then, the same deal. Like I knew the reveal scene was coming long before it ever happened. I was told by multiple sources. I'd heard it is spewed all over modern media and modern culture.
You know, I don't know what it was like for the people who were able to see that in theaters. I am still of the age that I was very, very familiar with all three of the original trilogy well before Star Wars Episode 1 was ever announced.
Right.
You know, when I was young, I was old enough, that I had seen all the movies quite a few times and thought that there was never going to be any more, and was shocked and excited to learn that Star Wars Episode 1 was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's like for some of those, true millennials who never experienced a world without Star Wars Episode 1 and stuff and things like that. But for me, they are the quintessential Star Wars, and they always will be.
The original trilogy.
The original trilogy, yeah.
Oh,
and I think that one is it still is the most meaningful film to me out of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's definitely, if you're shown the prequel trilogy at a very young age, I'm sure that they'll have more of an impact on you. But if you come to an age of, I was gonna say an age of reason, you fools, it would be pretty obvious which ones had more of an impact on you.
Yeah, it was the same. Well, I was very into Star Wars Episode 1 and 2 because when Star Wars Episode 1 came out, I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And so you throw anything flashy and goofy at me, and I was into it,
There are light swords and a guy like the giant monsters and laser fights. Yeah.
Even at the time, I kind of was I was a little bit confused by the movie. Like I didn't really understand it, but just because there was a pod race, just because there was a big lightsaber battle.
Yeah, that's what I call pod race.
Like that's pretty much. I was just waiting for those parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original trilogy, even as a kid that young, I never felt like I was just waiting to get to the good part. Like I liked the whole movie.
Yeah, for real. Well, I gotta say I didn't. Right before we need to bring it back to Empire, else this episode's gonna go on for a year. I will say that the original trilogy for me, I came back into loving it long after I'd seen both trilogies. I didn't like A New Hope at all. The first time I saw it, I was very bored. I liked Empire a little bit better, and I liked Return the most because it was cute and it was more cartoony. It was more flashy.
When I was at that age that before Phantom Menace came out, Return of the Jedi was my favorite. So as like a 6, 7, 8-year-old, Return of the Jedi was my favorite.
Yeah.
But Empire Strikes Back, and Empire Strikes Back was my least favorite at that age because it was the most intense.
Yeah.
It was definitely the most sad, and I was a little bit overwhelmed by that. But The Empire Strikes Back has been my favorite for a very, very long time. As I broke through the 10-year-old barrier in 11, 12, I started to really, really appreciate it more.
Yeah. It's and that's the same way I did it. I even at that young age where I would have been more influenced into liking the cartoonier feel of the prequel trilogy, especially the Phantom Menace, I could tell that there was just something about the Phantom Menace that I wasn't all about. But I did really enjoy Attack of the Clones and Return later on. But I eventually came back. Empire is just the quintessential hero's tale. It's
it's
one of them.
Well, it's so Star Wars, the original Star Wars movie, is the quintessential hero's journey, and then Empire Strikes Back really takes that and extends it, and then I feel like
Enriches.
we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I feel like the Return of the Jedi just didn't do as well as the finale of a trilogy as Empire Strikes Back did as the...
I mean, how do you follow that up?
Yeah, well, movies do it. They
It's true.
Writers and books, movies, people do it. People manage to pull off the third act very well.
I can't imagine the level of pressure, especially with the
Well,
franchise.
man, I mean, there was no more pressure on... I mean, maybe that's not true, but imagine how much pressure there was to follow up Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest box office and critical smashes of all time. Mm-hmm. How do you follow that up 3 years later?
Exactly.
And they did it, so,
Yeah.
I guess the trick is not to let not to let George Lucas actually write too much of the script specifically.
Yep.
Let him write the story, keep him away from the scripts.
Yep. So,
all right, so yeah,
incredible movie.
We've gone on and on.
You guys look up anything about it. Listen to any nerd talk about it. You'll hear.
I'm sure that at some point we're actually going to do some more deep delves into the actual movie, talk about the plot and stuff like that. Yeah. But because we have to get through all of these, and what we're doing with this podcast,
we'll keep it light, keep it general. The market's already oversaturated with people talking about Star Wars anyway.
Well, the market's oversaturated by people talking about Marvel, too. And
hey,
here we are.
Hey.
So, we're just going to talk about it because we're better than they are.
Yep. Number 2, A New Hope for me.
And number 2 is Star Wars.
Yep. Star Wars. the OG.
The OG.
Yep. I mean, I don't know what else to say that we haven't already talked about. It's the quintessential hero's journey. It's
the quintessential hero's journey. It introduces a world that people were completely unprepared to see. But it blew them away, and
so intricate and so engrossing.
Even to this day, when I watch it, I'm really amazed at so many things about it. It is the most lived-in space adventure I've ever seen.
Every aspect.
Because everything's shot on location.
Yeah.
And all the effects are really, pretty practical.
Unless you're watching the remakes.
Ooh!
Oh, God, I can't describe how irritated I am to see all that bullshit CGI in the remakes.
It is really annoying, but again, fortunately, I was young enough to have seen that original.
Yeah, I have them on VHS. Just the way.
Tracey, you want to take a second to explain what VHS is to some of our potential.
Look it up. Just look it up. I don't have to. We used magnets back in the day, and if the reel cat got unfurled, then you were just fucked. You had to get a special tool that only some people had to re-roll it up, and usually then it didn't play the same way after.
Nope.
And
yeah.
But the movie seamlessly and elegantly just incorporated all of the aspects of the world. You were just it was so easy to the movie made it seem so easy, and how it just laid out how the world worked around you, showing you piecemeal and everybody acting. It was space cowboys, it was bounty hunters, it was ancient legends of people manipulating the world and the energies around them. It's just epic.
And there are so many movies that came out of the 70s that when you watch it, you're like, oh my god, that's so 70s. Oh my god, that's so 70s. And yeah, you can see a little of that here and there, but man, it's just one of those movies that stands the test of time. Thank you. I don't want a grapefruit though. If you can give me a different flavor.
Yeah. Any particular?
No, any one of the others is cool with me.
Oh Jesus! Anything but grapefruit. Lemon.
Thank you.
Ugh.
But I mean, obviously some of the haircuts and some of the styles are kind of 70s inspired. Yet, after all this time, there are so few moments where you're like, that is just atrociously 70s.
Yeah, it's never in your face. I find myself doing it. Sometimes I'll be like, man, Han Solo had some fucking stylish hair.
He did, man.
And it still is. Like,
he's a very classically, all of his clothes and style and everything are classic.
Do you think that was influenced by the franchise, or do you think that they just naturally, it just aged very well?
I think that, before George Lucas got lost in his fantasy world,
his own lore, yeah,
he was going for simple. So it's like, if you're a space smuggler living on a place like Tatooine, or he doesn't live there, but if you're a space smuggler and you hang out in places like the Cantina in Mos Eisley, you don't spend a lot of time on your hair. So you wear a haircut that's simple, and the same with Luke. Like, yes, like the length is a little bit 70s, but it's not feathered. It looks like a guy who cuts his hair very simply. He's not quite as suave as Han Solo, and you can see that in the way he dresses.
Yeah,
and
Luke's just a farm boy.
Yeah, and you can see it to his hair as well. But none of them have like aggressively styled hair.
Yeah.
And
if it is more aggressively styled, it's introductory. It's like it's introductory of like a race or a lifestyle or something like that, or a group of peoples, like Leia's weird space buns.
Yes, exactly. It's like that.
It's like
buns, hair in a bun, in that way. It's like
that could
it's
be,
a little like it's almost a little bit more 60s. It's just like it doesn't date it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it doesn't date it, and it just could be representative of she's of high birth.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Something like
it's
that.
like an elaborate regal hairstyle.
And that's sort of like a worldwide sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Trend is if you're a higher birth, then your hair gets weirder.
And they had Alec Guinness play Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was a really great get because he had such an air of seen it all, wise, but doesn't take himself seriously.
A term we're a fan of, world weary.
Yes.
Yeah. He was
and his hair, like even things like his haircut, he looks like a freaking hermit.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like.
But you still have you still feel the gravitas of of everything he says. You get that sense of like, oh, he knows exactly what he's talking about. And I still get like a little bit of goosebumps, sort of like, whoa, when he said I sense a disturbance in the Force. It felt like millions of voices crying out in sudden fear. And
yes, it's so true. Like that line could have come off so cheesy.
The way that he delivered it,
feel it. Like you feel like he really feels it.
The way, like even if you're like, man, that movie's old and kind of goofy and whatever, that line alone makes me shiver. Like that, just the way that he delivers it, like you have to take a step back and be like, whoa, like because the way that Alderaan was destroyed, it was a little like, I know they're trying to demonstrate the power of the Death Star. It definitely gets across like the power of the Death Star. It's a planet killer, but the special effects are kind of not up to snuff. But when you hear that,
well, that's the thing. The only thing about the entire film that's dated at all is the special effects, but it's so near and dear to my heart that I'll forgive that any time.
Well, you gotta look at the time.
I would rather see a Star Wars movie made today with the same special effects.
Yeah.
But with that kind of acting and that kind of writing.
Yeah. It's there are a lot of movie franchises.
And that's why it's still
looking at you, Hobbit trilogy that relies on CGI far too much. And I appreciate that the directors of the most recent iterations of Star Wars have heard that, and they where they can get away with it, they will use practical effects.
Yes, but also that's only half. Like the writing of the new ones still hasn't been to this level to me.
Yeah.
That's why these two stay at the top. Okay, so let's
on.
do number 3.
Yeah. So we're trying very hard to keep things on track. I am fangirling very hard right now. My number 3 is Rogue One.
Hopefully we start diverging soon.
Oh, is it Rogue One for you too?
Rogue One is my next best.
I want to get some saucy arguments in there. Yeah, Rogue One had that level of writing that we saw in the first two. I thought Rogue One had a brilliant mix of CGI and practical effects. Rogue One had a...
I'm starting to get a little bit scared that our lists might be
identical.
Exactly the same from top to bottom.
Rogue One had an amazing rogues gallery of cool, interesting, relatable characters. You go into it learning that it's the story of how they got the plans on how to destroy the Death Star. So you go into it like I went into it like kind of expecting these characters probably won't be with us by the end, but it's still the way that everything came across, the way that the characters were acted, the action scenes. There was so much heart. It was. I don't know, man. I fell in love with them so hard.
Yeah, no, I was the same. I was so burned out on Star Wars because, and I'd been such a big fan for so long, but
it was refreshing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I was so burned out on Star Wars. The prequel trilogy, I really did not like. By the time I was nearing adulthood, I watched all the the prequels many times in very very early adolescence, but by the time I was 15, 16, I hadn't watched them in a few years. I remember that I watched them in preparation for Revenge of the Sith, and I was just remarkably disappointed because it had been a while, and I had done a lot of maturing in the time.
Yeah.
In there's just a few years between that. And I was like, wow, this is so not good, because what I come to expect from a movie is so much more than this nonsense. And then The Force Awakens came out, and I'm going to save my take on that for a little bit later, but I was so relieved that I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't love it either, and I was kind of expecting... I had low expectations for Rogue One, and I was really, really pleasantly... my expectations were really, really pleasantly exceeded.
Yes, I completely agree. I mentioned this. I mentioned this when we talked about Solo, and since we already pretty extensively talked about Solo, when I come to that one, I'm gonna keep that one pretty brief. The Star Wars Stories movies, the two that we've had so far, Rogue One and Solo, I particularly in Rogue One love how they show not only the desperation of the Resistance in its very early stages, as well as how the reach of the Empire's kind of tyranny and oppression, how it affects people who aren't directly involved in any of the major conflicts. Just you see bits and pieces of how people are forced to live under the thumb of the Empire.
I think that the big thing for me with this one is that it did the best job out of any of the movies, other than the two that I've listed so far, of making it feel like it's a real universe.
Yeah.
It feels lived in, and also it really doesn't even pretend to be a hero's journey. It's like it is a hero's journey in the sense that they are heroic characters.
Yeah.
But it completely bucks the whole traditional heroes cycle. That we've talked about before.
There, because instead at the end, instead of coming back to, this is what we're fighting for. This is what this is how we want the world to change when we're done with this. That's still there, but they're like, yeah, we're not coming back from this.
Yeah.
Like this is our last stand, and you just kind of watch with horrified fascination as the entire third act plays out, and you're just like, part of you still hoping that something's going to be okay.
Yes.
And
and I'll tell you another one here.
Yeah.
High quality villain as well.
Yeah.
And that always makes a difference.
He's so much fun to hate.
He's fun to hate. He is intimidating as well.
Yeah.
He's a scary character.
He's a scary character. And there's like... his character did a good job mixing the intimidation of a galactic colonel who has the weight of an army behind him and he has years of experience, but also before the higher tiers of the Empire being kind of an impudent child.
I'm really excited to see him in Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. He's a great actor.
Yeah, and he's just done such a good job with villainous roles that I'm excited to see.
Yeah. Try not to choke on your own ambitions.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Jyn Erso is one of the most badass characters in the Marvel in the Star Wars cinematic universe. I adore her character, and Alan Tudyk's portrayal as I can't remember the droid's name. I loved him.
Yeah, really good. I mean, I didn't even know it was Alan Tudyk at the time.
Yeah,
and I really liked it. I think a ton of people liked the droid.
Yeah. Great representation in the cast all across the board.
And there was a little bit of cheesy here and there, but like a little bit of dorky banter. But then it was just everything is forgiven for that third act, man. It's really beautiful.
I would say well, even when they show the Death Star taking out the little mining colony. And them escaping that. So
I want to just say that I've only seen this movie once, so like I'm trying to remember scene by scene, but I saw it once in theaters and I haven't watched it again since.
I would be so down ending our night watching that.
If I'm.
It's on Netflix.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I haven't watched it again. I've been waiting for my wife to rewatch it because I've been getting her into Star Wars and she's totally into it.
Yeah.
So far, I've only showed her 3 of the more quality ones.
Who needs your wife when you got your bro? I'm just kidding. Just pop open some more bitch seltzers and watch that shit.
I burned her out on Marvel so bad, trying to I would show her a movie and she'd be like, okay, let's have a nice night. No, let's watch another one. So I'm just trying to let her enjoy Star Wars.
Last thing I'll say about Rogue One, because we really do need to move on. Even though I could talk about this one for a really long time. The Vader scene at the end.
Yes.
Dear
really
God.
They showed him and I was so afraid that they were gonna just ruin that character.
Jesus.
So intimidating.
Was scary.
Yeah,
in a dark hallway, the lightsaber coming out of nowhere, lighting him up, and him just wrecking house.
Yeah, and I need to look up again who wrote that movie because...
Want to give him a big old kiss on the lips. I was gonna say cheek, but my brain took over. Yeah. But hey. Anyway, if whoever wrote that movie, if you're listening to this, my phone number is 555-5555. That scene at the end, and then the eat butts, and then the CGI for Princess Leia.
Yeah, and Grand Moff Tarkin.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah, it was just really fun. There was, as a longtime fan of the series, that had to be the most fun because there was the most surprises. There was the most. It just
so much fan service.
Yeah,
so much. Fan service.
Well done fan service. Not.
No, it all was critical to the plot. It wasn't just and I'm also here.
Yeah. And I think that Saw Gerrera was a character that a lot of people knew about before. I think he was in books and something like that. I was never a Star Wars expanded universe kind of guy. I was a diehard film guy.
I've watched the animated Clone Wars TV series, but that's about it.
Yeah, I've seen a little of this, little of that, and I never really read a lot of the books, and so I didn't know who Saw Gerrera was necessarily, but I thought Forrest Whitaker did a decent job with the character. But for me, that
he was very cool, even though he was really not there that often, and asking a big tentacle monster to drool all over some dude's face to get answers out of him. That was like the only part of the movie that I was kind of like about, was the big goobly squid mind reading monster.
I need to see it again and see what I think, but all I know is that I was so taken with the third act of that movie
it was gorgeous. It was perfect. It was really, really solid third act.
Okay, so number 4.
My number 4 is The Last Jedi. Our lists are identical. I fucking know it. I know what's gonna happen. Last Jedi.
All right, so but here's the only thing. This is where I'm gonna start to
criticize.
Yeah, because my top 3, I really like as films across the board, and then even though I enjoy aspects of the rest of them, or at least the most of the rest of them, I also do have fairly large complaints about the rest of them.
I would agree there.
We'll see if we have similar complaints.
I completely adored... I adored 95% of The Last Jedi.
I am a little bit less. I enjoyed I strongly enjoyed about 80% of it.
I know the two biggest complaints that I hear from people about that movie. The big one is the flying Carrie Fisher scene. I know a lot of people...
I really liked that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I know
I'll tell you my two main issues with that movie in just a second, but I actually really liked that.
That's... I thought... Okay, so here's the thing. That... People in general... The directors... The creators of the movie had to have been painfully aware of the death of one of their major cast members.
But that happened after production.
Exactly. But here's the thing: how do they handle that? And I think
they could have allowed that to be the death of the character,
but
and done reshoots.
Instead, they subverted everybody's expectations and in the process immortalized her.
Personally, I really liked that scene.
So it was awesome.
I thought it was really well done.
I was kind of like, the first time I saw it, I didn't really care. But then the third, fourth, fifth, maybe sixth time I watched it, I was like...
I've only seen it once, but I remember the movie very vividly.
It was... I was like, that's a really cool scene, actually. Like, what they did here...
Actually... Wait, did I see it?
But...
I've seen it twice. I lied. I've seen it twice.
Well, I'd always wanted, like, because her son is force sensitive, and so, and you she has to be force.
Well, it's Star Wars canon, because in Return of the Jedi, Luke very purposefully says, "My sister has it." So everybody knows that Leia is a force-sensitive person.
They feel each other, like, at certain points when different things happen, they both kind of, like, know what's going on.
There was some moments that I really liked in that movie, and Leia's force sensitivity was definitely part of it.
Yeah, I agree. I say my biggest complaint of the movie was Finn and what was the girl?
Actually, I have 3 main points. Three main problems.
Finn had the weakest of the...
It really seemed like he was in the movie because he was in the first one and they needed something to do with him.
Yeah.
He was totally irrelevant to the story.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that really didn't have anything to do... Their subplot had nothing to do with anything. And I don't like the hackneyed romance between the two.
It was really forced.
What is her name? What is her name in this?
I don't know, because I don't give a shit.
I liked her.
I didn't.
A bit.
I didn't.
She was charming.
No, she wasn't.
Okay. I didn't mind her. I just didn't like that they tried to throw in the romance scene. The one thing I did like about their thing, like there was this weird sort of intergalactic environmental message about that, with like releasing the stuff.
And here's the thing about that. I am pro environmentalism, and I know you are, but
yeah,
I felt that it came off as really pretentious. I really did.
It's
and
definitely overstated its welcome.
It's overstated.
Yeah, it's they're on a soapbox.
They really are, and the same thing. I feel my biggest problem with that movie, is the scene on what's the name of the gambling planet?
Yeah, I know.
What's it called?
I can't remember, but I know what you're talking
Again, like I've kind of blocked some of this from my mind, so I can't remember the name of it. But
yeah,
that was the stupidest scene I've ever seen in Star Wars, and that's really saying something because we've had some atrocious shit in the prequel series.
Their plot was there for the kids. Okay, so here's the thing. Their subplot accomplished two things. And in my eyes, it accomplished two things. First thing was it pointed out the fact that people are profiting off this war by supplying weapons to both sides.
I'm totally fine with that being a point.
Let me finish. And also, the kids that were working the stables, the one made the cameo at the end, and it showed him like reaching for the little thing.
I thought it was so stupid.
I kind of loved it.
I hated it.
I thought because there's a new generation and like they're
new generation.
New generation. They're making hope. They're building.
I'm sorry. I hated.
They're a symbol for hope. I think both of I kind of loved.
It was just so unnecessary.
I liked it. I liked it because it's like inspiring a new generation and new Force users out there. Blah blah blah.
The thing is, themes across the board, I don't have a problem with.
Yes.
Execution is what I have a problem with.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. Both of those things that I just mentioned, that hope and other people across the universe that might be force have force sensitivity, and also that there's people profiting off this war. Those concepts could have been introduced in a much more elegant fashion, but they were kind of ham-handed, shoved into that weird side plot.
Yeah,
they could have been done in a better way.
That's the thing. Okay, so my biggest issue with this film is the stuff they put in for the kids. The porgs, stupid. Yeah. Just really stupid. The scene on the gambling planet, stupid because it's so cartoony.
Was that Benicio del Toro, the one one guy that like was like, I'm on your side, JK, but also
I'm gonna let that slide until we see how it ends.
If he becomes a major player, okay, but it doesn't seem like he serves the purpose at this point, other than to like give you somebody the trust, only to like.
I just don't know because like for me the biggest issue was like putting in scenes of a CGI'd alien rolling on the ground with gold. It's like, come on, like why is that in a Star Wars movie? Yeah, it's so stupid. It is straight out of a bad cartoon.
Yep.
And the porgs are straight out of a bad cartoon.
Yep.
Why are they in the movie? Why are they like true blue original Star Wars? Those like that animal would have been something really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. And they really had such a ham-fisted is a great way to put it. A message about loving animals, and trust me, I am an animal lover. I love animals, but animals are visceral. Animals are real, and those animals, it just seemed so like I don't know. It was just so cheesy.
Looked at you with those big human understanding eyes.
Yeah,
and like I know. Yeah, I get that. I wanna clarify. I want to clarify. Though I do. These are our gripes overall. The rest of the movie was sterling in my opinion, and more than made up for those little hiccups.
Okay, so I didn't finish with the things that I really had a problem with.
Okay.
There were three things.
Okay.
First one was, you could summarize it by. I would summarize it by saying the stuff they put in there for the kids.
Yes.
And because Star Wars was not made for kids, and I remember I watched the first Star Wars as I was probably 5 or 6. I was probably 6 years old. 7 generous. I'm pretty sure I was about 6. Yeah. And I adored that movie. And maybe I didn't understand everything, but I got it. You know?
Yeah.
And it, anyway, so specifically that comes off in the really stupid romance for Finn.
Yep.
The really, really shitty entire sequence on the gambling planet.
Yep.
And then finally, the clowny caricature that they turned Luke Skywalker into. And he had he had about equal number of scenes where he was believable old angry Luke Skywalker and really cheesy clowny old grumpy pants Luke Skywalker.
That's just
and the one more than anything was like the scene where he's milking the animal. It's just so bizarre. It's like
I actually read an entire article about how they performed that. It was like a multi-million-dollar thing to like create that organism and like
and it's just so weird. He squeezes the breasts. It's like, why is that creature just chilling there waiting to be milked? First of all,
because he likes it.
He clearly did. He did. Like they made him like really enjoy it in like a kind of sexual way, and then.
He gives her a look like, ugh.
Yeah, like, and it's like, and he like kind of like looks up into the sky like,
Oh yeah,
it's really really weird, and then after everything, Luke, he like does this really unnecessary like overemphasized swig, and there's all this like sticky looking green milk in his beard.
Yep.
It's like, why did you? It's for the kids.
And Mark Hamill by nature is a hammy actor.
Yes, but why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I agree.
You're a Jedi master. It's like,
yep.
It just it's so kiddie bullshit.
That's the Mark Hamill stuff. The Luke Skywalker stuff I forgive pretty easily. The gambling planet scene I have more issues with. The romance between I think Rose, was it Rose? Rose.
Oh my god.
Finn and Rose. Unnecessary and also debilitating to the entire resistance because she stopped him from sacrificing himself.
No. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Like everybody else is sacrificing themselves.
Her sister is such a badass character.
Yes.
And she's such an annoying person.
Like, yeah, that was selfish. That was straight up selfish. Like that she saved him because he could have destroyed that big old thing.
I know. That would have been such a great character arc for him.
That would have been a noble fucking way for them to go out, and then they could have escaped. Although then you wouldn't have had the thing with Mark Hamill showing up and having his final battle.
So and that's one of the things I really did like.
I loved that.
I really did like that.
I loved that.
Like that's the thing that. But that was very adult themed. You know what I mean? It's like I don't need it to be graphic and violent. And when I say adult themed,
there his hammy nature was a plot point because he was goading Ben.
Right. I mean, it can be melodramatic. It just can't be
pointless.
It can't be stupid. Yeah. It just can't be stupid because the whole Star Wars franchise is based on melodrama.
Yeah.
It can't be stupid.
Yeah. We gotta move on. The last thing I'm gonna say...
This is because it's kind of a divisive movie.
Yes, I know. I'm gonna move on. Last thing I'm gonna say, warp speed ramming the fucking Star Destroyer.
There was a lot of really cool stuff.
The
opening scene was really cool.
When
Poe Dameron's...
Yep.
I thought Poe Dameron was divisive in this because... Alright, okay.
Yeah, we got
people. We're gonna talk about this very deeply at some point.
At some point, I remember everybody just to bring back to the warp speed ramming. My whole all the audience the first 2 times I see they went quiet. There was like a couple people in the back that went, "Oh shit!"
There were so many great scenes in that movie, and it really to me in summation,
Great.
which I already said, was just
Great.
held back by the fact
Yeah.
that they were pandering to 6-year-olds.
They were.
Yeah, and I...
Speaking of pandering to 6-year-olds, my number 5 is Return.
Okay, so here we're gonna diverge a little bit.
Oh, cool.
My number 5 is The Force Awakens.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Return is better than Force Awakens.
Okay, so
Because my number 6 is Force Awakens.
Now let's take a drink for this little discussion here.
All right.
So, the reason that The Force Awakens is number 5 for me is because as a story, again, it feels more adult.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Like, I don't need it to be Game of Thrones. I don't need to have excessive violence. I don't need to have nudity and stuff. When I refer to something as adult, I just mean that it's not purposefully dumbed down.
Yeah.
Because people think that that's what kids need to be able to understand something. Because for me, like I've said in the past, I didn't need stuff like that to absolutely adore Star Wars.
I don't think kids need that kind of... I think
They don't.
I
They
think
don't need to be spoon-fed.
Hollywood definitely underestimates kids' abilities to understand, comprehend, and enjoy things.
Yeah, and so for me, The Force Awakens, it's not my favorite, obviously, but I liked the fact that there was, that there was loss.
Yeah.
I liked the fact, I liked how they set up Han Solo as a pseudo-father-like figure for Rey, and then took him away.
Yep.
I liked that. I liked some of the character moments.
Yeah.
I liked Rey as a character.
I love Rey.
I liked Finn as a character a lot more in this one than I did in
Same.
Return. And
they better redeem him because I
liked Poe Dameron. I really liked the bromance that they had with Finn and Poe, and even though I'll be honest, both of them are kind of dumb names.
Poe. Poe is a Teletubby name.
And perhaps that's why I will always consider it a stupid name. But anyway, that's really, really, like, I need not even bring it up because it's such a small issue with the movie.
Yeah.
But I liked the Millennium Falcon reveal. There was a lot of things that I really liked about this movie. I even liked the Han Solo intro. There was only a couple things that I actually really have to complain about this movie. And that is just that they really did a lot of we're gonna take the things that everyone says they like about A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and we're gonna just jam those things into this movie, and basically you're gonna watch Star Wars Episode 4 and 5 over again.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Like, I really wish that they had done something cooler than another planet killer.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they had diverged.
It's just a bigger Death Star.
I mean, it is, and
and they actually they said in the movie they were just like, is Starkiller Base? It's like 5 Death Stars in one.
Yeah, it's just and the whole actual finale to the movie I didn't particularly like.
That's kind of what bumped it below.
Yeah, that's the same thing. If they had as epic a conclusion as The Last Jedi, it would easily be above that movie.
Yep.
But the ending was kind of underwhelming. I liked The Force Awakens. I just did not particularly love the finale. And when I say finale, I don't mean the entire third act. I really mean like the
fight in the woods.
Yeah, I didn't like the fight in the woods. I didn't like that it was very Revenge of the Sith-y in terms of the planet was like splitting apart. It just like it made you don't need. What you need are personal stakes to make a lightsaber duel good. You don't need to make the world falling apart around you.
Yeah.
It's just because then it just becomes a mess of CGI.
Yep. I agree.
I also didn't like that that she found Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. I thought that was just a little bit too coincidental.
Force works in mysterious ways.
Well, I know, but it just.
I know. Hey, dude, I put this one lower than you, so yeah, I understand.
So I didn't like that. I didn't like that Luke Skywalker's lightsaber was there. I just wish that they had done that in a different way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now that I've talked about my number 5, you talk about your number 5.
We'll talk about my number 5. I love Return. Very much, I agree with you that there is a lot of cartoony bullshit in there. The Ewoks are definitely thrown in for the kids. They definitely did a better job with them than some of the other cartoony bullshit that's been in other Star Wars movies. I think they're cute. I think it's fine to show other life forms that are acting like that. I'm not crazy about the way that they're able to take out the troopers. Like, just like, we have rocks and slings and logs, and they're just like their armor, the stormtroopers' armor was like designed to hold back like death rays and shit.
Yeah,
and they're just like, I'm gonna beat you with a rock.
I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll let you go.
Yeah, it's just I know that, and I know with like that movie just moves at such an excellent pace from start to finish. Everything from
that is one thing I do definitely agree. It had good pace.
The moment the droids showed up at Jabba's palace and you were introduced to another. Just
I did really like the intro.
Weird seedy underbelly.
The problem is I'll get there, but
Luke shows up and he's like, wow, he's way more of a badass now. He's got the green lightsaber. Oh shit! All of that stuff. Cool reveals. It gets a little garbled at the end of the Jabba's palace when people part ways and stuff like that. Yoda dies, super sad, disappears. I guess I didn't realize that was a trope of the Jedi of just kind of fading to nothing after they die. They just like surrender their body over to the Force. But now that I understand that more, I appreciate A New Hope so much more, because I actually hated that about New Hope, where he's just like, his body just fucking disappears. Okay. But I get that a little bit more now. The plot line with the whole it was Endor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the fight scenes on Endor were very cool, minus the Ewoks. I loved the scenes where the AT-ATs showed up and started like, they took over the AT-ATs and they were.
That's one of the things that personally I'm a very strong AT-AT person.
Oh, I'm just saving time. Honestly.
I don't like AT-AT. It just sounds
lazy.
Yeah, it just.
Oh, I'm being lazy. That's why I'm saying it that way.
Whatever.
I liked it. Right. I did like also just to keep the tension and the intrigue going on. They had the climactic story.
Actually, in just to be a little bit extra nerdy for you, real quick. As a matter of fact, there are no AT-ATs in Return of the Jedi. Those are in fact AT-STs. All-terrain scout transports.
I'm so sorry.
The AT-ATs are all-terrain armored transports.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna lose a lot of sleep over that tonight. I like.
You know why? Because I'm gonna get up in the middle of the night. I'm gonna come.
It's just gonna
very
whisper
quiet. No. I'm gonna sneak up next to Tracey and be like, "It's AT-ST." Just gonna scream it in his ear,
and then I will come out of my sleep so abruptly and punch you in the face because which I will
deserve.
I will feel threatened, and your face was in the way. The dueling finales were really cool, where it was like jumping back and forth between them sabotaging the shields on Endor versus Luke and meeting with the Emperor, and we get to see the Emperor. The reveal of him being able to use Force lightning was so fucking cool when I saw it for the first time. The duel with Vader with the Emperor in the back, like, yes, give in to your anger, yes, and everything. I was like, yeah, it's showing the sides of the balance of the Force, like how. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, and then Vader's ultimate sacrifice was really cool, really poignant. Just like it felt like a nice way to wrap everything up. It was like he showed him as a flawed, but a very flawed character who really wants to do good. But he was seduced by the dark side and sort of that redemption at the end, destroying everything that the Empire had been working for, and he gets that tender moment where he takes off his dad's helmet and looks at his gross face and says a little thing. I don't know. It's just the pacing. I remember the scenes the best from that movie because it has a very distinct. Landmarks in that one. It's the Jabba's palace is very well realized. It's a very specific area, and the planet of Endor is very cool and unique, and I always remember that. And then that the final fight with the Emperor is just the light and the colors and the dialogue was well done, tight, still pretty well written. Not a little definitely a lot cheesier than Empire, but
yeah. Okay, so. Ready to do number 6?
Yep. So yours is Return and mine is Force.
Yours is Force Awakens?
Yeah, mine is Force Awakens. I liked Force Awakens this was like a matter of like I had to like look into the minutia of the details of the movie to like pick this out, because I really did like Force Awakens a lot, but there's just a couple things that I wasn't crazy about. The ending, while a very cool ending, it was there wasn't a lot of gravity or importance or heart into it, because like you said, like a good lightsaber fight, there should be a reason for them to fight. Also, my biggest issue with the movie is I love Rey, I love her, but there's a comic online that really sums up how I feel about her sudden ability to master the Force and lightsabers, and it shows Anakin, Luke, and Rey all one after the other. Anakin's like, I trained for a decade under the best Jedi Masters in the galaxy, painstakingly crafted my lightsaber and used the Force over years and years under the tutelage of the Masters and whatever. And it's like, Luke's like, yeah, I got my dad's old sword. This old man told me how to use the Force. Okay. And then underneath it just shows Rey, and she's holding the lightsaber. She's like, "LO, what the fuck is this glow stick?" And I was like, "That's exactly how I feel."
So one thing that I didn't bring up because I didn't want to go on and on about Force Awakens, but because I knew we were going to talk about it again.
Yeah.
Was that there were moments where I adored the way they did Kylo Ren, and there were moments I hated the way they did Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And I liked the way that they made him. I liked the way that they made him seem very, like, impatient and childish.
Yeah.
The problem was, as soon as they took his helmet off, he really seemed like a whiny kid.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He seemed like a different person. He seemed like so untrained and undisciplined.
And it wasn't just because the helmet's intimidating. That's not all it is. It's like there was a turn in writing where he seems like he has a very short temper to
his whole demeanor changes.
Yeah, to the point where he goes from being intimidating but having a very short temper to being not intimidating at all and being a pouty baby.
Yeah. Yeah. By all stretches of the imagination, Kylo Ren should have destroyed Rey and Finn in that fight.
And here's one thing that I would say. He should have... the first time I watched it, I felt that way. The second time I watched it, actually, I became a little bit more forgiving because I felt like he was so out of sorts. He was. That you could understand. But for me, actually, this is how I feel. I feel like I'm totally okay with Rey's mastery of the Force. I really believe that he should have just, like, really pretty much wrecked Finn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I feel like he really should have wrecked Finn, and Finn should have had really significantly more substantial injuries than a slash.
Well, Finn's really... I mean, like, we didn't see any of his stormtrooper training, but really Finn's only hand-to-hand combat experience was that one random stormtrooper that ran up to him was like, "Traitor!" And he just throws his gun away in favor for that weird, like, spinning electric stick.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's in sanitation, so he's not a combat experienced stormtrooper, and he's definitely not ready to have a lightsaber battle with
That line annoyed me a lot because I realized it was there to get laughs, but he's like, he developed a plan to save the Rebel Alliance, and then at the last second he's like, "Oh yeah, I cleaned toilets," and you're like, "The fuck's wrong with you?"
Yeah, there were moments like that in throughout both Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, that things they were trying to do for laughs just came off as like taking away from the intensity of the story.
They definitely did try. They did try to go for some big laughs.
They tried to do the Marvel thing where there's comedy, but it just didn't come off right, and it took away the stakes. You know what I mean? It took you out of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Like as if whereas Marvel does such a good job of being like, no, this is your hero, this is your character, and his personality is snide or sarcastic, and this is the kind of thing he says to deal with the intensity of his situation.
Yeah.
But in Star Wars, they've been doing it where, like, this is the character who's really intense, and this is how he handles the intensity of the moment, and then he makes a funny joke. But it's not funny because it's not. It just steps away from the character.
Yeah, exactly. Created. Well, or just like making a really intelligent character stupid for a second. I was like, no, you wouldn't make that. Yeah. You wouldn't have that oversight. And okay. I was a little bit irritated with how fast she was able to master the Force.
I was at peace with that because I felt like it was cool. I feel like. Okay, let me put it this way.
Well, it's like
if the payoff in episode 9 is worth it, then I'm okay with it because it is part of a trilogy.
Yeah. If
the payoff in episode 9 is not worth it, then I'll have a problem with it.
Yeah, here's the one thing I did say to like kind of cuz even if here's one thing I think might happen in episode 9 is that it's because of the presence of the dark side of the Force has become overwhelmingly has just become overwhelming, and then they need somebody, so it's like it's just the universe trying to balance itself out.
I feel like that's a legitimate reason.
And then I think that's what Luke Skywalker's whole thing was we need to get rid of so we don't have these people with crazy insane powers. Mm-hmm. And so I get that. So she's just like gifted with, it's the universe trying to create balance, so she gets a disproportionately large amount of the Force. She gets becomes very, very powerful, very in tune with it. But also, if you got a new muscle that you never flexed in your entire life because you didn't know it was there, it's like if you suddenly grew a tail and you never done anything with it.
Well, but the Force is so natural. It's like to me, the Force is like, I don't know how to put it per se, but like.
But she'd never been taught any of that. Like, she didn't know. She just made grabby hands. But things.
But the thing is, like, for me, the way that I look at the Force is like, you know, for some people, dancing is just the most natural thing you'll ever see, and dancing it's like a feeling of the rhythm. It's like it is a genuine feeling of energy that some people are just so tuned into. And you see a 6-year-old, and they've never been classically trained, but their body just moves in all the right ways. Like, to me, that's kind of how I see the Force. So you know, it's like if you lived in a really shitty place and nobody ever danced, then and like
Footloose.
You know, all I'm saying is just that, like, to me, it's not about a muscle. It's about it's about like an inert feeling of energy. So
Gotcha.
Or not inert, innate. Inert is not what I meant. Innate feeling of energy.
Yeah, I understand that.
And so it works for me so long as the payoff is there. If it's not, then we'll see what happens. But
yeah, I guess I'd say I overall really did enjoy the movie. It just felt like force use was super inconsistent throughout it. Like especially with Kylo Ren, the one time he just walked up to her and he was just like, "You're asleep," and she just passed out in his arms, and I'm like, "Why? Where are you?"
But I did have the feeling a little bit, but I'm kind of at peace with that because he's such a inconsistent character. Like, his persona, his character is very powerful, but also hyper concerned with like
emotionally compromised.
Yeah, he's so hyper concerned with appearance that he loses. The way I see it is that he periodically loses touch with that connection to the energy. So if you lose touch with that, then you're so focused on looking cool that you forget to feel the energy of the dance. You know, I don't know. I guess that's just.
I guess I can understand.
I mean, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, are you ready to hear my number 6?
Yeah, what's your number 6?
Solo, a Star Wars story.
Really?
Yes.
You thought Solo was better than Return?
I enjoyed it more.
All right, let's hear it.
As an adult. So we'll see if I continue to feel this way as time goes on. But for me, I very strongly felt that Solo, a Star Wars story, they, for whatever faults they had, they never hit a point where I felt like they did it just for the kids. And that really is really important to me. It's really important to me. And when I think about the fact that the Endor battle with the Ewoks was supposed to be a Kashyyyk battle with the Wookiees, but then they took it out because they thought it would be too much for the kids.
That's what was supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm mad.
Yeah, right?
Fuck.
So I'm bitter towards the movie because we could have had an entire battle scene of, Chewbacca picking up a dude and smashing him down head first.
Oh my god.
So, dude. The problem is, I agree with you that the pacing of the movie is really excellent until Endor. So, and unfortunately, Endor is almost half the movie.
That's true.
Ewoks are in this film for almost half of the entire film.
I might have too much nostalgia goggles for that one.
I'm not trying to convince you otherwise of your ranking. All I'm saying is that
I also want to point out that we made these lists in about 3 minutes before we started podcasting.
Yeah, we did it really quick. We're like, what should we talk about today? And
so I didn't really do a critical analysis of all of these.
Well, I've had a problem with Return of the Jedi for a long time for these reasons. I don't like the Ewoks' presence. I don't like the battle with the stormtroopers. I don't like their believing that C-3PO is a god. I don't like that. There's so much I don't like. And even though I do like a lot of things about Jabba's palace, I don't like Jabba.
He's a little goofy.
I think making him a giant slimy slug was just silly.
It was kind of gross out humor.
Yeah, it was. It's like, and I really didn't like putting Carrie Fisher in the bikini. It's
I like how she has responded to that in like subsequent interviews.
Well, she can respond to it however she wants, but essentially it's, she has to defend herself because most people think it's stupid.
Yeah. I might change my list after this episode.
I'm not sure to change your mind, but
now that I think about it, I was only remembering the highlights of that movie and how they made me feel. And you know what? Yeah, the highlights probably took up about 20 minutes of that movie.
Unfortunately, I agree that the pacing is pretty well done. The way the story moves the rate at which it moves is not bad. It's just, you really feel like things are moving quickly. You're into it the whole time.
Yeah.
The problem is, as an adult, when you hit the Ewoks, you just it feels very much like that, like The Last Jedi, in the sense that they're trying to make everything look too fuzzy.
That's true.
Like,
although
kid, I wasn't scared of Chewbacca. I was never scared of Chewbacca. I thought he was awesome.
Wookiees are awesome in general.
Yeah, and so why remove them from the film put in literally teddy bears?
I did like that they added the other Wookiees in Solo, and he had those little bro moments with them.
Yeah.
Although tell me that you didn't cry when that one Ewok died and the other one went over to mourn over its corpse.
Oh yeah, well okay, so that was the only Ewok moment that was actually good.
Yeah.
That was pretty intense, and that was well done. Yeah. But the thing was, everything else was really stupid. Even the practical effects for the Ewoks were really bad. It's like, of all the really well done puppets and costumes they did, they really looked like they looked like people in teddy bear suits.
Yeah.
They didn't look lifelike. Anyway, suffice it to say that I don't like it when movies put stuff in for the kids. That's one of the reasons that Iron Man 3 is pretty low on my list, because
Iron Man 3.
Yeah. No, I did mean to say that.
Okay.
Because they put the Harley Keener thing in, they had, and they had such a great PTSD story arc for him, and then they're like, but then we're gonna put him with a kid.
So he doesn't actually ever have to deal with his
problems. Exactly. So it just, I felt like that was unnecessary in that story. So...
It made a really big spike.
Yes, good job.
Sorry.
Sorry, I pretty much screamed earlier when I was joking about what I was going to yell in your ear, so... Yeah. Can you grab me one, too?
Yeah, you're done with that one.
It's empty.
It's empty.
I love kids, and I respect their intelligence, and I really don't like it when media tries to dumb it down for them.
Agreed.
So, I mean, just for instance, you can see it so clearly in movies, Pixar does such a phenomenal job making movies that are for kids, but don't feel stupid.
But they're also emotionally complex and well crafted.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just feel like Star Wars is constantly afraid to alienate its kid viewership, because that's a big market for them with toys and stuff.
If there's anything, I'm gonna use a game. Well, maybe not, but if there's anything that I've learned from my time playing games and watching movies, it's that if you try to satisfy everyone, you end up satisfying no one.
Yeah. You really just have to tell the story that you believe in.
My favorite thing to reference is the Resident Evil franchise. For a while there, it started off as a hardcore survival horror game, and then they kept slowly trying to slide it in the direction of becoming a mainstream AAA blockbuster shoot 'em up, and because that was popular at the time. And it's no, that's not what you are. Now everybody's unhappy with you. Please stop. Same thing with these movies where they're trying to pander to every type of audience, and they end up satisfying no one because you lose the plot. You can't fit every type of plot line, every type of character into this movie. Just stick with what you know.
All right. So Solo: A Star Wars Story is my number 6. What's your number 7?
My number 7?
Yeah.
Revenge.
Really?
Yeah.
So you put Revenge above Solo?
I did.
Okay. So my number 7 is Return of the Jedi. I don't feel like I need to really talk about Return of the Jedi anymore, because we did just talk about it a lot. So, just to reiterate my 1 through 7s very quickly, It's Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars, Rogue One, Last Jedi, Force Awakens, and Solo, and then Return of the Jedi.
For number 7.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi is number 7.
Mine was Empire, A New Hope, Rogue One, Last Jedi, Return, Force Awakens, and then Revenge sitting at number 7.
So I'm glad that we're diverging a little bit as we get farther down the list.
I want to get that spicy conflict.
So
That's what the viewers crave.
Yeah.
Viewers. Slam that like button.
Yeah, hit that like button and...
Ring that fucking bell, you motherfucker. Top of the morning to you laddies.
Which is hilarious because we struggled so badly trying to record a video.
Oh,
we're both like looking at ourselves.
Unless we're doing like legitimate out in the world sketch comedy, I think we're gonna stick to a visual medium for the most part.
We'll see how it all shakes out. I mean, everything's been a little bit. This is all new for us. Everything. So,
oh yeah, for real. So we're learning it. We're learning as we go.
We'll try again, and maybe we won't do a podcast style with a video. Like we might have a plan for it or something, and then it won't be so awkward because we'll be actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I really want to get that game channel up.
I know, man, but when am I going to have time to play video games to that extent?
3 in the morning, like we always do.
My wife is going to be back very soon.
Psh, she'll understand. I'm sorry. Anyway.
I work. I'm going to have a very pregnant wife, and then I'm going to have a wife and a child. You know what I mean? And all of the pursuits... Okay.
Just hire a nanny to take care of all of this.
Okay, you can pay for her.
Yeah, right? I'm sorry. I was pleasantly surprised with Revenge.
I thought it was the best of the prequels, but
agree.
That's like saying this shit stank less than my morning shit.
That was a great metaphor.
It was. My morning shit was just straight up diarrhea. This one was like...
Oh, wait, did I actually... No, okay, so... Oh, I didn't mean to put Solo below Revenge, so that's my bad.
You didn't mean to?
So I think my 7 is actually Solo.
Okay.
Why did I do that? Okay. Yeah, I thought we were lower than we were.
Okay.
Solo is my 7.
Oh, okay. So we're still...
Solo. Alright. Moving on before I get slapped upside the tit.
That's where I tend to slap people.
Yep. Got a little lizard friend. Oh, he's gone now.
Yeah, there's an albino lizard that lives in my apartment, which I really appreciate because he eats like mosquitoes and bugs and stuff. So.
Yep.
He's my bro.
Circle of life. He's your Liz bro.
Yep. Okay, so we won't.
I couldn't help myself. All right, Solo was fun.
It was fun, and I didn't love Alden Ehrenreich. Here's the thing. I don't want to go too much into it because
we already talked about it. Yeah.
There's literally. We just talked about it.
Listen to last week's
podcasts ago.
Listen to episode 14,
I think.
Yeah, 14.
So, it's still pretty recent. I don't want to go over it and over it, but it meant a lot to me that the themes were pretty adult. It meant a lot to me that. And it meant a lot to me that they didn't try and dumb it down for the kids. I appreciate that because that's been a real issue with Star Wars.
It was a simple movie, but wasn't dumbed down. There's a difference.
Yeah, and honestly, if my biggest complaint about the whole thing is that you've got Harrison Ford to live up to as an actor.
Right.
Even if the guy looks nothing like Harrison Ford, find a decent actor, man. Find someone who's got that stage presence.
He did seem like he did a very okay job. he was pretty well written.
Yeah,
But he seemed like a young teenager that was constantly striving for others' approval.
Yeah, I didn't hate the character. I liked the character. I liked most of the characters. I really liked the acting for some of them.
Yeah.
Really like the movie is almost set up for failure because Harrison Ford as Han Solo is one of the truly all-time most beloved characters on screen of all time. And so you really have to find someone who's got that kind of gravitas. For instance,
yeah,
you need a guy who's just winning. In the way that Donald Glover is just winning at everything he does, you need a guy like that to play Han Solo.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't really look like him, I would rather have an actor that didn't look that much like Harrison Ford, but just pulled it off.
Yeah.
Than a character who looked kind of like him.
I was incredibly discouraged when I heard that they picked him. It's when I was like reading about his initial selection. I was like, you picked him because you wanted him to look like him.
Yeah, and he did. And I mean, the resemblance is decent at best, and I'm really willing to forgive a lot if the character is exciting.
Yeah, and he again, like the direction of the writing was strong enough to kind of carry it that you weren't like left feeling angry or super disappointed at the end. It was just mild twinge of disappointment because it could have been better. And
ironically, the supporting cast really carried the movie. I felt like
for real, they supported it very well. And he was the whole time it just felt like I'm Han Solo, okay?
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm Han Solo, okay?
I'm Han.
Yeah, and Lando was super lovable.
Ugh.
He was so Lando. And here's the thing. I feel like Han Solo, the character they wrote, really captured what a young Han Solo would be like. I really like in the sense of the writing, I wasn't disappointed. I didn't feel like they butchered the character. I wish you need someone who kind of swaggers on screen and your eyes, if there was a camera on you as an audience member, your eyes widen a little bit. You know what I mean? Totally unintentionally. That's what you need to live up to a portrayal like Harrison Ford's Han Solo.
Yep. He didn't have that. He had the swagger, but he didn't have the confidence to back it up.
Well, it was a fake swagger. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Harrison Ford he'll swagger all over town. You know what I mean? Because that's just how he is.
Them hips don't lie.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I mean, he was Indiana Jones, for Christ's sake.
For Christ's sake.
So...
For Christ's sake, man. Yeah, we won't go too in depth with this.
All right, so now it's time...
Check the Yancy St Speakeasy, episode 14.
It is time to hardcore rip on some movies.
Oh, God. From this point on, they don't get much better, because I think the only ones we have left are
the prequels.
And I'm just going to say, for me, it's pretty obvious. It's going to go Revenge, Attack, and Menace.
Oh, see, I disagree with you there.
What, for real?
For real. Attack of the Clones is a far worse movie than Phantom Menace for me.
I'll be interested. You can talk about those, because I have not seen Attack or Phantom Menace in about a decade.
Okay, well, I'll talk about it, but... So first off, we both agreed that Revenge of the Sith is by far the best...
Yeah.
Of the prequels.
Which isn't saying much.
But
it was really held up by the Padawan betraying the Master arc was really solid, and the fight at the end was the fight on the lava planet at the end was pretty good and
it had moments of being good.
It had moments. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was hesitating so much to
Again, for me, the thing is that I hated the intro. Because it's like this really cheesy shit banter that's really there for the kids. But the closing, even if the lightsaber battle is really overdone, like they are, Tracey, they are literally swinging on cables, fighting with lightsabers as they are swinging like over lava. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just, it's. I mean, just imagine you and I.
That out, I guess.
Just imagine you and I with lightsabers or swords in our hand.
Sticks.
Yeah, just imagine LARPing while swinging on cables.
Swinging from the chandeliers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it would be the most awkward thing. We'd be like. And even if
one of us barfing, the other one's like trying to get good.
Yeah, and one of us just falling off. But I mean,
feel my fear.
it's yeah. I know they're force sensitive, so they can direct the swing of the kid. But you know what? Fuck it. It's just stupid. It's just so overdone. But there are some good moments. Watching Anakin Skywalker get burned, it's good. That's pretty good. The reveal where he wakes up in the Darth Vader outfit, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty
when he murders the younglings, it's intense enough that.
Yeah, that was like.
I liked it.
I know I did too. It just didn't fit. It didn't feel like it fit in with the rest of the movie because the rest of the movie was so patty cake.
That's the thing, but that's my
cake,
problem.
Murdering children.
But the murdering children is where you want to go to create a character like Darth Vader.
Oh, for sure.
The patty cake's not. Like, why is General Grievous in it?
Because he's got swingy arms.
Because you want a character that can wield 4 lightsabers at once.
Duh.
Stupid.
Duh.
It just it's bad. It's a bad movie. That's better than the others. That's the way I look at it.
For his gross heart.
Yeah, it's just so dumb. Anyway.
The fight with Yoda and Palpatine.
Oh, God.
I do remember that being extraordinarily mediocre.
Mace Windu's death. It's like he's such a badass character, and they kill him off so easily.
Oh, dude, and Kit Fisto, like that. Actually, Kit Fisto is like one of the few characters that I've delved into the.
He's the one with the tentacle head.
He's a green squiddy head dude, and he's the one character that I've kind of delved into the extra stuff to look into, and he's a badass too. I love that. I love him as a character.
All the Jedi are supposed to be badass, and didn't.
They were like paper men.
Yeah, they got shredded so easily.
Oh, this is probably my food.
Tracey had to be a bitch.
And
nourish himself.
Was hungry.
But anyway, there was so little good about the movie. It just happened to be better than all the rest of the hot garbage that we got going.
The foam, the delicious foam rose to the top of the hot garbage pile. Yeah. And we scraped it off.
Yep.
And we made revenge.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you do most of the talking with the next two. I just remember Phantom Menace being long and boring as fuck.
It was, but at least it wasn't. Okay, so here's the thing. Basically, I'll just talk about my last two together in comparison to explain why one is above the other.
I'll say I'm going to talk about real quick what I remember, just so I can have a say in this before I let you take over.
No.
Fuck you. And I thought the fact that Qui-Gon Jinn was in there was dope. Introducing him as a character was awesome. So that's one thing that that movie brought us. It also brought us the Duel of the Fates, which was one of my favorite John Williams Star Wars compositions, and it also brought us Darth Maul. Super, super cool.
Which are all reasons that it's better than Attack of the Clones.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Hated pod racing, didn't need to be there, and the movie took galactic politics, which should be super fucking interesting, and made it really boring.
Okay, so then.
What's happening? Why is my phone making noise?
I don't know. That was kind of weird.
That was kind of weird.
Kind of sounded like it was alive.
Sounded like somebody was typing.
Um.
Okay. I'm scared to even...
It was odd. Anyway, so yeah, quality podcasting right now.
Oh, I think I accidentally had it on record. I think somebody heard us talking about it because he just replied with Star Wars episode 1 was the best Star Wars there was.
So did you accidentally send a Snapchat, like a video Snapchat of us recording our podcast?
Yeah, I think I accidentally did. My friend Ryan. Shout out to Ryan Sirota from Miami. You sexy bitch. And you apparently have bad taste in Star Wars.
Star Wars episode is the best episode there is.
He said Star Wars episode 1 was the best. Because we were
That's really funny.
Oh my god, that's really funny.
Ryan, that's an awesome reply.
Fuck you, Ryan.
So there is a real quick reason to why Star Wars Attack of the Clones is worse than Star Wars The Phantom Menace.
Tell me.
Hayden Christensen.
He is he's a little whiny bitch.
It is remarkable that they cast him. I don't know, whoever was responsible for casting, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but they definitely did some things with Hayden Christensen because there is no other reason for him to land a role like that.
Oh, you think it was
I don't know, but all I can say is that, you know, you have Ewan McGregor, and you're like, yeah, he was not great in Phantom Menace, but you can really chalk that up to writing because he's been so amazing in so many things.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Hayden Christensen ever be good in anything? No. I've seen him be bad in everything he's ever been in.
Yeah.
So it blows my mind that anyone would ever cast him in a role like that.
Yeah, but on top of that, I've made my opinions on Natalie Portman clear in previous things. It's just it's
not her fault. I mean, for God's sake,
she's more of a dramatic actor. She's like more for like.
That's why she could have been so good. I mean, they had Liam Neeson, they had Ewan McGregor, they had Natalie Portman, they had all of these big time stars who are really talented leading this movie, and it was just it was nonsense.
Hi, Thomas.
But the problem with Attack of the Clones is it's even worse. It's so nonsensical.
You didn't like the scenes when they were on the planet and they had the big fight pit?
No, it was atrocious.
Didn't like it when
Jango
Jango Fett got his head lost and Boba put his head against it?
Stupid.
You didn't like it when...
it was a big CGI mess of some of the worst writing I've ever seen.
You're a CGI mess.
The actual dialogue was horrendous.
We should play Lego Star Wars after this podcast. I have all the games.
I actually like Lego Star Wars.
They're really fun. And they actually they even make the prequel trilogy bearable.
So in the Phantom Menace, they kind of turn the Jedi into superheroes where they can they can jump ridiculous heights. The lightsaber battles are so fast. They're so fast. It's unrealistic. It's just
bananas.
It's banana. And then in Attack of the Clones, they take it a step farther. You know, they have Jedi. They have Obi-Wan Kenobi and Hayden Christensen.
Bitch.
Jumping off of speeders, dropping like 70 stories, catching on other speeders.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh, isn't there like that
so
random
ridiculous.
droid assassination
thing
where they try to kill Padme?
And they're like, hey, we're gonna take a really stupid plot point from Phantom Menace where Padme has a decoy queen, and then we're also gonna make her have a decoy senator. It's like, why did you take one of the worst plot points of the movie and then do it again?
That movie was all over the
It was
place.
really unoriginal.
Wow.
Dex's Diner was stupid.
Don't you say that? That's where all of Lego Star Wars takes place. Dex's Diner, it's the hub.
I don't care. It was really atrocious. It was the worst writing.
Sorry, Dex.
Even Obi-Wan Kenobi has the most pitiful writing. The back and forth between the two, it's like there's no chemistry between them.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the one thing that I do remember, it's like, yeah, no fucking shit that Anakin became a Sith Lord. Obi-Wan is so dismissive and treats him like poopy the entire time.
It's just so bad. It's just it's unbelievable. Like, what I mean is, every word that comes out of any of the characters' mouths, I don't believe it. I don't believe it because it's unrealistic. I mean, for God's sake, a woman who's been a queen of a planet and a senator for a planet falls in love with a 16-year-old whiny bitch.
The age gap between the two of them always upset me.
Why did they do that?
Like those scenes, like if you're a fan of Menace, where she's like getting on a knee to talk to him, and she's like, "We're gonna fuck one day," and I'm just like, weird.
It makes no sense. It's not like they set it up in the original trilogy, and then you had to roll with it.
But she died of a broken heart.
Just so stupid.
She died of a broken heart.
No, but they didn't set up an age difference in the original trilogy. For some reason, George Lucas was like, we're gonna make Luke's mom the queen of a planet, and we're gonna make Luke's dad 9.
Yeah. She's like signing imperial decrees, and he's like shooting cats in the backyard with his like little blaster thing.
And it's terrible.
Question: did Senator Organa appear? Like, how much did he appear before they decided to just give the baby to them? Leia's surrogate parents.
That's a good question. He definitely was.
He was in the Senate chamber with them.
He was prominent in episode 3. I believe he definitely at least appeared in episode 2. I can't remember if he was in episode 1 at all.
Because I just remember at the end being like, when they decided, like, Uncle Owen and Aunt something, like
Aunt Beru.
It didn't seem like I knew any of those characters. Just like, well, my baby survived. I know who my godparents are going to be. And I'm like, I don't. All right.
Well, Owen and Beru appeared in episode 2.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, again, we should rewatch the...
Again, atrocious.
We should
Anakin straight up murders a whole group of sand people.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
And he found his dying mom.
Yeah.
She got enslaved by them or something.
Well, no, what happened was Watto sold Anakin's mom to a moisture farmer, and because he fell in love with her, so he bought her and then freed her and married her. But he also had a younger brother, I want to say, and that was Owen. Owen Lars.
Hi, Owen.
And Beru was his girlfriend at the time. So they do both appear. But the funny thing... here's a funny little thing. Obi-Wan never met them. He doesn't even know they exist. So how would he...
the Force.
Yeah.
He met him in the Force. He had a Force dream, and he's like, these people are trustworthy. So good. Solid across the board.
But it's amazing to me. It's like, if you ever asked your mom and dad about their love story, and your mom was like, well, I was actually the youngest woman ever to be elected as regional governor of our state. And when I met your father, it was love at first sight. I traveled to, a really rural part of West Virginia on sort of outreach mission, and he was just so pure. And
why was he so pure, Mom?
I remember looking at his 9-year-old face and just knowing, what? What?
And the kid just looks over and he's like, we're gonna fuck it, I'm gonna kill you.
It's just the worst ever decision. I mean, there is so much bad about the movies, the prequel movies, but it's just, like, I cannot understand. I wish that I could ask George Lucas why. I don't think he could give me an answer.
Yeah.
I don't think he could. I think that he would be... I think that...
He definitely... Yeah, he got so caught up in his own lore that he was just like... He was just smoking and just like, yeah, this works.
I don't know what happened.
Does Mr. Lucas have enough pot? He needs gratuitous amounts of pot to do his writing.
Maybe he was a huge dick. Or maybe he was just like a huge asshole.
I just want to ruin this franchise for everyone.
No, maybe he was just like a huge dick, and he really was high all the time, and everyone was so afraid to say anything because he was just a raging prick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to besmirch your name, but I can't imagine why people would let you do this.
Why would you do that, man? Really quick before we wrap things up, I just want to get your opinion on the Jar Jar Binks was secretly the Sith Lord conspiracy.
I think it's idiotic. I think people are desperately trying to rationalize why a stupid-ass character like that would ever be in the movies. And you know what? There's no reason for him to be there, and the same reason there's no reason for Anakin to be 9 years old.
He irks me so much.
Of course. Because he's a racist portrayal of, like, a Jamaican person.
Yup.
It's just...
It's just childish, racist slapstick.
It's horrendous.
Alright.
And I don't know what else to say about it, but... Anyway, guys.
Let's plug ourselves and wrap this up.
Alright, so... I guess we'll traditionally start with your Instagram.
Okay. Viva La Frank.
At maxdean.org.
No. This is my thing. It's Viva La France. Viva La Frank with a 3. The E is replaced with a 3 because I wasn't quick on the draw with that domain name. And so go to Viva La Frank 3. I'm posting all of my artwork on there. Sorry if I'm sounding impatient right now. I'm just very hungry.
He's thinking about his food. I'm not allowing him to eat.
I haven't eaten in a very long time. And I'll be putting all my artistic endeavors up there. Commissions, fun stuff, superheroes, stuff that we're doing with our original comic book artwork.
Tracey's next commission, I will pay him $1 to draw 9-year-old Anakin Skywalker.
I'm just going to draw, like, 2 circles with, like, a shitty stick figure face in the middle. And just put, a little word bubbles, says something stupid. What was it? What was Baby Annie saying?
Space is cold.
As cold as my heart.
That's the worst.
Oh, what are the tiny things? They also, Phantom Menace also ruined the Force by trying to make
it all scientific.
Like
midi-chlorians.
Midi-chlorians. That's the word. Midi-chlorians.
It's not only is it a stupid concept to try and describe it, it's a stupid ass name too.
Well, it's just this child has a high concentration of midi-chlorians in him. He will make a fine ally in the fight against the Sith.
Oh, God.
All right. MaxD.org.
MaxDean.org is in fact MaxDean.org.
Yeah, that's our website.
So,
I say our ironically. Because I'm just sitting over here. A little bit.
Sitting over there being Tracy LaFrance.
Being all not MaxDean.org.
there's going to be a schism in this creative partnership when Tracey creates TraceyLaFrance.org.
They both advertise the same thing, but I just have like a slightly. I have like your background in your website is white and mine is eggshell white. Because clearly I'm the better one. It's a higher quality of white.
It's more elite.
Yeah, I am elite. I am the most elite. I'm like the Elite Four from Pokemon, bitch. Send me all of your Charizards.
Okay, good.
I tell you that one time, okay, never mind. Story for a different day. I really want food. We need to end this.
Okay, so at maxdean.org you can find all of our Yancy St Speakeasy podcasts. You can find some original artwork by Tracey LaFrance. Probably some of the same stuff that's on his Instagram.
A lot of the same stuff, yeah. You do have a couple things that I didn't put on my Instagram.
Okay, so you're going to find some promos for the comic book series that we are working on. Actually, so what we are working on is not just a series, it's actually a comic book line with multiple series. And you'll be able to learn more about that very soon. But we're very excited and working on that. And you can...
you can smash that like button. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for that, but...
We're fading. We're sorry. We apologize for this.
We had a personal record today of downloads for the podcast, which is cool.
Like 40 downloads in one day.
Yeah, we had almost 40 downloads in one day, which in the scheme of life, we're not trying to make ourselves sound amazing, but we know that we're pretty small time, but we're only 2 months into this, so for us 40 downloads in one day, it's pretty substantial. So
yeah, I was not expecting that. Well, like I didn't expect us to get over 100 downloads this fast. Like, well,
let's not sell ourselves too short. But 40 in a day, in a week. That's...
Well, I am. I didn't know how any of this worked. I was like, how are we going to be discovered at all?
And so yeah. Anyway, long story short. Things are ramping up, and we're really excited about it. We're really grateful to all the people out there who we know and love, who are downloading our podcast and listening. And we're also really grateful to everyone out there who we've never met before, never been in contact with. Mm-hmm. And on that note, if you are someone who, if you know us, you can send us something about the podcast, and we'll talk about it, and we'll enjoy it. But if you are someone who's never met us, who doesn't know us, but like the podcast, we would love to hear from you. So go ahead and email us at maxwelldean@maxdean.org.
Yeah.
Anything about the podcast, and
if you email us with your address, I will put lipstick on, kiss an envelope, and mail it to you. That is my pledge.
So I don't know how to come back from that.
I do.